the fear of judgment from others with that failure. That was it. Like all culmination of all things, it just led to that one thing, like kind of like the 9-to-5 shell. I thought that was kind of like the only path that you could take, making them understand who you are, to like making them understand where they're at in life right now and where they want to be.
Get your discovery done by just asking them what they're excited about in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you realize they're not qualified. You just give them one nugget, 10 minutes of your time, and send them on their day, man.
Yeah. Essentially what I'm coming into your business and doing is figuring out a problem, helping you solve that problem, usually by methods of acquisition.
Yeah.
Right. And
based on your past experience. Welcome back. This is the Weekly Profit. This is week 1. And just like I mentioned last year, everybody that we got on the remote side of things was going to come in person and sit down with us. And I figured what better way to do it than my guy, Tristan, over here. Tristan, thank you, man. Thank you for making the trip all the way down from Ottawa,
yeah,
Canada.
thank you for having me,
there
bro.
we go. We went global for the first one. I
we
love
went
it.
global, yeah.
Good deal. How's your trip? What do you think of Miami for your first, this is your first time here?
This is my first time here.
Yeah.
I haven't been to Florida in like a decade.
Okay. Came for Disney, I assume?
Yeah, long time ago though.
Yeah,
but so far, positive. Liking it so far here with my girl. It's been really good. But we've only been here for about 6 hours, so I can't really make a...
Yeah, what better way to start than do
exactly.
a podcast in the art district?
Yeah, exactly.
No better way to do it. So talk to me about the last time we spoke, and I always say it, there's new viewers that are going to catch on to this.
100%.
So I think a good way to kind of recap, not essentially what we spoke about, but essentially the transformation from where you were at then to where you are now.
Yeah.
Talk to me about Tristan 8 months ago, and then we'll develop into that.
Very, very different guy 8 months ago. I would argue that 8 months ago, I was kind of a little bit confused as to where I was going to go in life. I know we spoke a lot about kind of breaking out of your shell, right? Like kind of like the 9-to-5 shell. I thought that was kind of like the only path that you could take. And then I kind of just ended up in another 9-to-5 without knowing it, right? I was working for an online coach. I was kind of the COO for his business. And it was kind of just a different version of the same thing. But we had obviously spoken about kind of breaking out of the shell of the 9-to-5. So in the last 8 months, I've spent a lot of time, I would argue, like facing fears. So I was very scared about actually doing my own thing, going out on my own at all. Like I always thought that in order to be successful, I would have to do it under the guidance of somebody else. And at some point I realized, like in the last 8 months, that the whole thing that was holding me back was that fear of failure and fear of kind of taking things on by yourself. And so at some point I decided to stop working for him, and I've since launched my own business. And it's going well so far, so I'm super happy about that. But that's kind of like a lot of personal development, a lot of personal growth in a nutshell of an 8 month period.
because at the time, granted, and it's a testament to who you are, right? Like you're excited about that opportunity.
100%, yeah.
Like I wasn't really sensing like
No, I was super happy.
Who you were, and I think, and that's the beauty of it. Like I think it was what you maybe needed at that time, and it showed you like, oh shit, like Did you feel like you were masking it? Or did it just come as an evolvement of that role developing, do you think?
That's a great question. I think we're all masking all the time for the most part as individuals. That's like a whole can of worms that we don't have to get into right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was kind of at that time, that's who I was and that's what I knew. And I don't think, I don't hold any resentment for that. I was in the right spot. And the only way I've come to be sitting here today and running my own business has been that continuous progression of figuring out, okay, like who are you? What do you want? Are you in the vehicle that's going to get you that? And then just continuously like the personal development of myself.
Cool.
Right. So there was no resentment for like being in that spot and at all. Yeah.
Very nice. And speak to the guy that's there now. Speak to the mid-20s. Hey, I'm working for this person that maybe has mentored them and they believe in, but they still have that in the back of their head. Like, what were you focused on that gave you the confidence ultimately to branch out? Like, I kind of want to get at the trigger here, because I think if people can recognize maybe that trigger, maybe it's already popped up or maybe they sense it coming, they'll trust their instincts a little bit more to be like, okay, like these are the things I should be potentially seeing.
Yeah, I think it's different for everybody. So for me, I had to go really, really deep. I came in the community that we're both a part of. There happened to be a group call where somebody was talking a lot about shadow work and kind of like levels of energy and like what you should focus on, and how a lot of our motivations are like based on anger and desire and not like love and like all this stuff. Anyway, we won't go down that rabbit hole, but it had me thinking a lot about what I'm actually motivated by. And as a result, I was connected to like a mindset coach specifically for entrepreneurs. And I kind of understood already at that point that I had some limiting beliefs and like limitations internally that might have, maybe they came in the last 2 years, last 3 years, but most likely from childhood. And I never really knew how to face them or even identify them. And long story short, got on a call with this mindset coach, and it kind of all just was laid out right there on the table for me. And through some work with him, but also just some internal work, I came to the realization that a lot of the stuff that had happened to me when I was a child, like the way that my parents raised me, and I don't want to come out and say that my parents raised me in a bad way. I love my parents. They were fantastic parents. But just some different things that occurred had really affected my inner confidence, like my inner self, and the way I projected myself now, a decade later. And because of that, I was working on myself. Figuring out like what was wrong, what the limitations were. And it was actually standing in our kitchen with my girlfriend who's here today. And I told her the only thing that I'm scared of, like the only thing holding me back, was the fear of failure and the fear of judgment from others with that failure. That was it. Like all culmination of all things, it just led to that one thing. And when I identified that, I just started working on removing it.
Very nice. And so there's like the perception of others. I could definitely, I think playing into that, I've definitely experienced that for sure.
I think most people do, yeah.
Like you think you're doing what you want, but then you kind of realize maybe I'm just doing this because it looks like nobody's worried about me. Yeah. Like nobody's going to like question. And we face it all the time. I was just having the conversation in the car with my team on the way up here. And I was just like, look, there's the way that you're kind of ingrained to do it, that a lot of the people in your past that are, like I always say, your parents do their best. It took me a while to realize that, but ultimately they're basing it off of how they were raised and some sort of element of that, much like any human will, much like we will. Just like our perception of the world kind of flipped a little bit. It's exciting to give my kids that opportunity of like, hey, I actually did it in reverse, where like, hey, you could, and like yourself, we've got the degree and we've got the, the backup plan, whatever, but these are the years to go after it. These 20 to 30, because if I fall on my face and I really commit to something for 10 years and we know what real commitment looks like, and we've been honest with ourselves, like, maybe we did 2 years where we thought we were doing it the right way, but now we have 3 or 4 years where we know we've been doing it the right way. Like that is cool to experience in our 20s, because ultimately the people we meet through this, at the end of the day, if we need that security, we can always call back and get it. Like it's not going anywhere. No, you've built it yourself. By you getting this experience, you've already built it. If any of your peers go off and become multi-tech millionaires and you say, hey, I need a 6-figure job and I want to do this and I'm really good at this, they're going to hire you on the spot and you're going to be working with your boys. If you skip this and you don't go for it right now, you piss that away. It's a lot harder when you have a lot more responsibilities. Yeah,
that's what would have happened to me, right? Like I was telling the guys like right before we started the episode that I used to work, for the government of Canada, which a lot of people in Canada would kind of view as, you made it in terms of stability. Right?
And can I ask you if that was that a unique thing to have it at such a young age?
I wouldn't say it was unique. Like I was on a good path, I had gotten a degree.
But it was definitely like top tier. Like it's definitely like you kind of separated yourself from the pack a little bit in terms of where you were at that time. Yeah, like if you get like the degree that I got, like I just have a basic bachelor's in finance, but if you get that degree, like it's not unlikely that you'll get a job, but it's basically like I had secured myself like a permanent position, right? Like not a contractual basis. And so I was saying before that you literally can't get fired from the government of Canada unless you commit a crime or something. And I don't think that's an exaggeration. And so as a result, I was basically set for life and like with this pension and stuff, right? But I was thinking to myself, after having discovered that I love to travel and all these things, which is just, I won't get into that story, but I went to Germany for 3 weeks to watch the Euros in like 2024. And when I came back, they had told me like, oh, you don't have any more time off.
for like a whole year. And so I was telling myself, I was like, okay, I can't leave the country I can't go on another trip. Like I can't even go away for like a long Friday or something. And so that was basically like the breaking point for me, where I did not want the rest of my life to look like that. And if I continued on that path, there would be no other reality.
Yeah. And I'm glad we established that. Like, I'm glad we've established kind of where people have a real idea of kind of an idea of where you come from and what you've been through.
Yeah.
And now we get into the present day, which I know we're very excited about. And like, I've been seeing it on your Instagram story. Like, I kind of want to get like directly to the point, like your recent thing that you've been posting about, like 13K a month to 80K a month.
Yeah.
Like, speak to that a little bit. Like, how did that come about? Like, in terms of this being, you know, it seems like a very clear, like, proof of concept. Like, hey, what I'm building is like helping people and like doing something. Like, talk to me about this experience with this client that you've scaled.
Yeah, 100%. I think, so that was like somebody that I'm quite close to, like that specific coach who kind of gave me my start. And so we did 13K in July, and then, you know, obviously grew it substantially the next month. And really we had just identified a mechanism for him specifically that it's common in the info industry. Like, it's just running a masterclass or a webinar or anything like that. But we identified that as the mechanism that was going to solve a lot of problems that we were experiencing. So we were facing like show rate issues. We were facing like volume, booked call volume issues. We were like, okay, we know that we can package this offer that we have into a way that would be more digestible and consumable in like a live masterclass, like in a short event.
And what does he do, just for the audience?
He's like a biz op coach. So he kind of helps like service-based business owners.
Okay, very nice. And he's having these problems with show rates, and then just people, like the funnel, it's the infrastructure.
Like the basic,
not
like
consistent
funnel stuff, right? And so what we do in those cases is you want to find a mechanism that is going to specifically handle the bottlenecks that your business is experiencing. So you don't want to go into a business and just add, I don't know, just let's say, for example, like a DM setter or something, if the business doesn't require that to solve its primary bottleneck, right? So we identified as step one, okay, the bottleneck is this, the bottleneck is that. What is the best mechanism we can use in order to solve that? Well, that just so happened to be this, webinar, which is obviously very, very common these days. Yeah. And it worked, and it usually works because.
And why did the webinar work? So what was he doing before?
We were just trying a few different other things. So we were doing a lot of like organic push.
Yeah. Because like, so a lot of people are sitting here being like, dude, if I was at 13K a month, like I'm good. And I know that's levels, small. Yeah. There's levels to it, but that's why it's important. Cause it's like, okay, well, what was he doing at that time? Like, talk to us about his, like, just current, where you met him at. And it was like, okay, this webinar comes to a point of like being important. But beforehand, he was just kind of like free balling, would you say, like through content?
No, I mean, we were working together for a decent portion of time at that point. And yeah, we were trying a few different strategies, those of which kind of worked and other ones which didn't. We were testing a lot of different stuff. I was also kind of learning in the process what was working, what wouldn't work for an offer like his. Himself, in the same right, was also learning. And as a result, we kind of just came to, this was a mechanism that he had implemented and we had implemented earlier the previous year, but it's a very like time-based offer. Okay. So we just knew that, okay, we're going to run it up with this specific mechanism. And the reason that the webinar works so well is, as a coach in 2026, the most valuable asset that you can create is trust, right? Yeah. Because I would argue like 2023, 2024, maybe 2022.
Boy.
Yeah, we won't get into that. But like around those years, it was very easy to sell like a one-to-many offer to a lot of people without having so much trust, because you could just kind of promise them an outcome and they would take that at face value. But now so many people have been either scammed or burned or, whatever have you in the industry, that you need a lot of social proof. And there's actually, I don't know specifically what the name of it is, but you need like 7 touch points, 11 hours of watch time on 4 different platforms in order to predictably convert somebody. And the masterclass, although it's not like 4 different platforms or anything, but it's an hour, if not 90 minutes of FaceTime with a potential buyer, all in one.
That's a good point.
Right? So it covers everything from making them understand who you are to like making them understand where they're at in life right now and where they want to be, and then helping them understand that, hey, there's a mechanism out there, the one that you're going to present as your pitch, that can help you get to your desired outcome. Yeah. And then you go ahead and pitch it.
And it's a ton of leads, right? You just get all these freaking emails and names and phone numbers that you can go retarget. So now talk to me about the founder's role in this webinar. So for somebody who maybe they just, you know, eventually they're going to be able to hire somebody like you and put something like this together, but they're going to freeball it. They're going to try it. They're going to see what works. Yeah. What should their mindset be heading into that webinar? Because I know you don't want to necessarily come off too pitchy. You want to be like, give people something that they can leave with. Yeah. But as far as your firsthand experience, like just talk to me about maybe some things you focused on that stood out to you.
Yeah. Like as a coach, the main thing that you should try to focus on is packaging your main offer. Like let's say, for example, I'm like a fitness coach or something. You want to package it in a way that's like consumable for that 90 minutes, right? So if you're a fitness coach, you want to kind of promise like, okay, learn the 3-step method to losing, I don't know, like 30 pounds in 3 months or something, right? And so you're going to kind of present that as your consumable offer. Now your main offer might be something a little bit more complex or a little bit more long-term, but people probably won't show up to a live event that might describe your full thing. So you want to like package it in a more consumable way. But really all they need to focus on during this masterclass is presenting that, and then going through the steps of connecting with your audience, because people no longer buy from companies, they buy from people, and they buy from people that they trust. So you want to connect with them in like, let's say the first 20 minutes. So that's where you're describing your story, how you came to understand the mechanism that you're eventually going to sell them on, and how it changed your life. This is like a very common thing that people are doing. Number 2, you're going to kind of understand their situation. Right. So I've been where you're at. You make them feel like, oh, my life sucks. But you basically make them feel emotional about where they're at in life right now. And then you sell them on the dream. So ultimately what their desired outcome is, like how you've been able to change your life with it. And then you pitch them a mechanism. And that's essentially it. And then you would just book a bunch of sales calls. Yeah.
Yeah. Right off the bat. Now, how often would you say running like consistency of the webinar is? Should it be geared towards around like where you guys split, like kind of trying to test with this offer, or was this an offer they had long standing they just wanted to draw new attention to?
What we were doing was we were running it like very frequently because it was something that was a little bit time based. But as you know, if you're just kind of generic coach, you can run one like once a month to your organic traffic. Like let's say you have 30 to 50,000 followers on Instagram. You could just run once per month free live masterclass. And a lot of people say, oh, like, why would I want to like pitch my Instagram audience? I don't want to make them feel like I'm being salesy. It's like you're literally delivering them free value for 90 minutes. Yeah. Like that's the way to position it, right? Yes, you're going to give them an upsell at the end or something, but you're quite literally presenting them with value for 90 minutes. So it's not being salesy at all.
And it's going to be a layup. It's basically going to be like, hey, do you want like, would you want to do this yourself, or do you want us to do the whole thing for you?
That's exactly right.
And if you have the money and you're financially qualified, or you're investing in yourself, and people have access to capital more than ever these days, like it's a reasonable thing to do. It's funny because I'm a big observer in the space, and like I like to see other people test theories that I'm having. Sure. And I just take notes off of that. I'm like, okay, they really did that the way I thought.
What are the notes that you've been taking off of stuff like this lately?
So it was just we take the webinar approach just to our sales calls. And when I pitch my consulting as part of the package that we're selling, I tell them it's twice a month, and one of those calls you're welcome to invite your entire team. And that's
a great way to do it.
I will literally do the entire corporate training. I don't mind, because I know they're going to get a kick out of just being able to ask random questions. And then also you as the business owner, like we can check in once a week, and if what we're doing works, then like, what do we have to talk about? Like there's no point in, because I think people overcomplicate it. They want to go in and they're like, oh, like let's do 7,000 different things. 20% of those things are giving us 80% of the results, as we both know. So why not just do the 20% until the 20% doesn't freaking work anymore and you have to evolve it? Like you can just save so much peace in like the interim than trying to like piece together the whole puzzle. So yeah, I think just on that, I just took the webinar approach. I say, hey, we asked clients for, and if you're listening to the podcast, this is the script I always block out. But we ask people we don't ask for sales calls. We ask for feedback.
Yep.
So I'm asking for somebody to give me 3 minutes of their time to provide feedback on the transformation I just listed in the paragraph above.
Yep.
So we basically just say, hey, if we can save you 90% time spent on client acquisition, business development, and scheduling, would it be worth giving us 3 minutes of your time to give us feedback on how it works?
Yeah.
Every single, whatever we booked last week, to tell you, it's like I'm having 7 calls a day.
That sounds like some sauce I need to use in my own agency.
Dude, it's what we, well, that's why I am still not giving the whole thing.
Yeah.
But because it is everything people are doing on B2B side when it comes to whether it's LinkedIn campaigns or email campaigns.
Yeah.
We're just doing the opposite of it. We're taking the people approach, and we're realizing, I tell all my prospects this on the sales call. We say, if you can, and now I'm going to start getting them to agree to it, but like I always ask them, if you could agree that at any bit somebody came on your call and gave you some info on what you're doing, but you got the chance to present it, isn't that a win? Like, is that not a win for you if you hyper targeted this person and they are like, hey, it's not the right time now because, versus pitch slapping them, they're worried about the price the whole call. They're asking me what the price is.
It's data collection, you know?
Data collection. And I've just been, what I tell them is, you can ask for feedback, and then when you present your demo, it's about when. So if you get your discovery done by just asking them what they're excited about in the first 20 minutes, and then you realize they're not qualified, you just give them one nugget, 10 minutes of your time, and send them on their day, man. Because I don't want them on virtual coffees all the time, and I don't have time for that.
Yeah, no, of course not.
But all the time. It's taking the webinar approach of like, hey, give me free sauce. That was kind of the note right there where I think I love it once, twice a month, whatever you want to do every week. And then I also like, hey, if it's working so well to the masses, imagine if you made your one-on-one people feel like they were at a freaking webinar instead of a sales call. Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. I was speaking to a friend of mine who runs an offer for like faceless YouTube, like massively popular thing, or getting massively popular in the next few months or in the next year. And he had employed an agency to help him, get to the revenue level that he wants to. And at this certain point, like, he just wasn't where he wanted to be revenue wise. And so they implemented a DM setter, like it could be any mechanism though. And as a result, he still wasn't getting the results that he wanted to with this mechanism. And I think kind of like to turn to the point that you were saying of like just getting on these calls with people for data collection and just for the sake of, getting them excited about a product that maybe you can't even sell to them yet, or they might not be ready to purchase yet, whether it's financially or like the business isn't just prepared. But they had implemented like a 7-question application process for a coach that was booking a very low volume of calls. It's like, okay, what are we doing here? Like, why are we adding friction to a funnel that doesn't need it? Like, what we really want to do as a business owner is collect as much possible data as we can so that we understand what our market wants, what we can give them, and what common objections are that we would be dealing with on these sales calls, right? Fuck it. I don't know if I could swear on this, but fuck it if they're not financially qualified. I'm getting information about my ICP.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And you hit it on the nose when you hit on, you'd said something about the friction. Yeah. The friction. That is like literally we went for like the asking for a call versus the asking for feedback, immediate friction blocker. The other thing
I'm going to implement that, by the way. Stealing that.
Dude, using not building rapport. Yeah. Which went against everything I learned and all my sales guys that
You're saying not building rapport?
Yes. So like in the messaging, like we used to be like, oh, how's it going? Like to get the conversation started.
I love this. That you're
oh
doing.
My God. I go, you know what these people care about? They care about the problem you solve, who you solve it for, and proof that you've done it. Yep. And if you're actually about what you're doing, you can answer all 3 and you can say it in 3 sentences. And then you just get every single one of our messages is no, not at this time, or yes, that sounds interesting. Because you've already given them everything they're going through in their brain when they're you're asking them how their day is going.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's what are you about to pitch me with?
Yep.
And so we just eliminate it. We skip the step and we message people twice. And like, you can take that approach. I think it's people to people approach. Like you hit on earlier, removing friction, and then stop. We also realized how many opportunities we got back to tell people who we are, the problem we solve, and proof that we've done it. When we would ask people how their day is and they would say no.
Yeah.
Dude, if I'm doing that on 20% of my leads, oh my God, none of these people know what I do.
Yeah, that's true.
Now they don't have a choice.
Yeah,
because we tell them
know.
first.
Yeah.
So like, fine. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I don't care how your day is going. I hope it's going great. Obviously, every good human being in the world hope your day is going well. It's the dumbest question in the book.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, I think skipping that is just, it's a really, I like the lack of friction thing is something people can definitely take from this.
Yeah.
If you have another point on that, feel free to go on, and then otherwise,
I was just gonna say
transition.
like, when I do my own cold outreach too, like it's very common. Like I'm a fractional CMO now, right? Like that's what I do. But another term for that's very common in the industry is like a growth operator, right? It's like a consultant in the corporate world.
It's a Gen Z CMO.
Yeah, that's what it is, right? So like I'm helping people scale with like paid traffic and all these things. But I'm essentially what I'm coming into your business and doing is figuring out a problem, helping you solve that problem, usually by methods of acquisition. Yeah. Right. And
based on your past experience. It's
exactly.
all, and here, that's the part people skip is like, hey, you kind of have to know what you're doing.
You have to.
You go sell it and then hire a VA. Like you don't, if you can't, we even have this thing, like we have like 5 people on our team.
Yeah.
Because I already went through the short form content agency where I had no clue what short form content fucking was, but I knew I could hire a clipper for $100 a month and charge somebody $1,000 for it.
Yeah.
Like that, it was simple logic. Great. That's phase 1. And we see this a lot in our game of guys younger than us, especially, where they like see what's working for us and then they're just going to go basically copy everything they just heard on this podcast, act like they did it, and then actually have no idea how to answer the deeper questions behind it.
Yeah. There's like obviously, Iman, like Iman released his most recent like monetized offer is like shadow operators, right? So he's essentially telling people that you can go to like creators or coaches and say, hey, like I'll purely rev share, help you implement this certain mechanism. And there was already a huge amount of growth operators who, at least in my own opinion, don't know what it actually takes to get a business to the next level. Yeah. Right. And kind of like all the back end that's required. And the term as a whole just gets thrown around loosely because if you implement a team of setters, you're a growth op. If you do back end funnels, you're a growth op. If you're a fractional CMO and you focus on paid acquisition, you're a growth op. It's just an overused term, which is why I kind of try to stay away from using it for myself. But
yeah, and I think it's just what I've learned with that is it's about who you're talking to.
Yep.
Because me to you, B2B like whatever you just like the growth B2B growth operator makes way more sense.
Yep.
But to the sales call I'm having tomorrow, growth consultant is what he wants to hear. Yep. And to the super high level company with like 100 employees, hey, we're a fractional CMO. We're just going to come in for 6 months and we're going to do this. And it all is the same. Yeah. But I see it all the time where like people use that as a limiting belief. They're like, I have to live up to this identity. Like, nope, you've got to solve people's problems. Yep. And however they want to interpret whatever that is called, you need to be okay with it because who cares?
People are full of limiting beliefs.
The labels mean absolutely nothing. Yeah. Like, and I can't make a dark joke there. I'm not going to make it. But there's a reason, like, we have not. Okay, no, we can't make it. Moving on. Yeah. There's now into you have this client that's going really well. Now I'm curious in terms of like heading into this year, is there, and like based on your experience, right? Yeah. Like, is there a type of client you're like looking for and like, or type of person you think you work potentially better with than, like I know you work with coaches, but let's say you could get a coach with some, what does that look like? Your dream client, as I like to ask people sometimes. Yeah, 100%. I think that, as a business owner, you obviously have more of an opportunity to work with, like, let's say a coach was already doing like $200,000-$300,000 a month and we wanted to scale that. Well, it's a lot easier to take revenue or get paid out on that.
It's actually more likely easier to scale that because they already have a proven mechanism. You just need to kind of like identify some small tweaks on what you can optimize. But where I think the real value lies, and the people that I actually like to work with, are the coaches or the creators who are absolutely incredible at what they do, right? They don't even need to have like some insanely proven offer with like a bunch of client results, but they are so good at what they do, and they're so passionate about helping others make money or get help with their vehicle. So one of my clients right now is like a mindset coach. Actually, like I was one of his students, and I understand the transformation that one can go through when actually onboarding with this person. And I know that he is so passionate about the results that he gets. But strictly speaking, he might be great at this, but he sucks at scaling online education companies. And I think there's a whole I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, like it's misconstrued in the way that everybody thinks that they need to like scale on their own, or they need to get good at this other type of business model. You might be fucking amazing at helping people break limiting beliefs, at helping people start, Amazon FBA companies, or you might be great at Amazon FBA company yourself, but you don't know how to kind of leverage that into building an online education company. So I love working with those coaches who are super passionate about the results they can get for people. Maybe they're already getting them, but they're just not good at the online education side. Yeah. Because I need to believe in like the results, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. And I think a lot, for what it's worth, the coaches that are really doing it, they go on social media almost like after they've like just been working with people and are like, yo, I want to tell more people about this. And so that is a huge value add of like, hey, here's how you can properly position yourself online to appeal to XYZ. Here's some things you should say. Literally, we were just watching your videos like before we came in here, and I was like, dude, even if I could just replicate that content style 3 times a week, it'd be better than doing it not at all. Like it would be, I have the footage. I'm not spending 45 minutes a week doing it.
You don't post?
I've been killing it on stories. So I just am like, I don't, like for the now it hasn't been, but I need to post, gain more like traction in the stories. But I just run like story
carousels,
story software that basically,
oh really,
it basically just targets my target audience, and then it has me like their story without following them. And then they get drawn to my profile and they think I followed them or whatever.
Secret sauce.
Yeah, more sauce. I know. And so now it just allows me to just post the stories, because people say that they're like, you're adding like 100 followers a week and you're not posting content, and it's organic. Now it's not super accurate because it's like AI, and like I wouldn't say everyone who comes in is like a guaranteed client. Sure. But it's definitely already brought in enough. Like it's enough. And then when I start posting, it just compounds. So I want to podcast header. Like we'll run it.
We'll come back in 3 months. I'll be like, where?
But I just want to be, like very intentional with it. And I don't want to just put fluff out there. And like, I've been through the phase where like last year I went through a little bit of like, hey, I posted for like 180 days in a row. But it wasn't always as intentional as I'd like. And now I'm just curious what I'm capable of if I'm intentional with everything I do. I think YouTube's going to be a big push this year. See a big opportunity there. And then whatever we can come to on the Instagram side. But I'm curious on your kind of content strategy, because you do have like, you get 10,000 views, 7,000 views, like, and it's not like you're out here with 10,000 followers, but you're getting like, you're filling mini stadiums. Like, so it's there's something to it, right? So,
Yeah, for me, I'm not somebody who was fantastic at like just organic content, and I won't come out and say that I'm fantastic at organic content still. I've been working with someone who's been helping me out with that, and their philosophy around it is fantastic and just a good dude overall. So, shout out to Josh. But in general, I think I had a lot of limiting beliefs around posting content, and had everything to do with the fear of being judged, right? Like the whole primary reason that I want to post content is because I want to share like an authentic version of myself with the world. Yes, I share like insights about my beliefs around like the industry that I work in, and I provide value and like all this different stuff. But it really primarily stems down to wanting to show people that wouldn't otherwise know me, he believes this, or, getting messages from friends when I post something about, you know, wearing a mask every day and like being different versions of yourself around different people. And I get a message from a friend saying, dude, like that hit hard. Like I've been thinking about stuff like that. Like that's really why I'm doing it. You know, the money or the inbound leads or whatever you want to call it, that would come from that. 100%. I want that too. Let's not, you know,
but you get to spread
that.
your wisdom. And I think that's so cool. And we just kind of hit on that point where I don't remember who put it in my head. Maybe it was Dan Martell. Maybe it was Gary Vee. But they talked about like, you guys realize like 30,000 people fit in like most Major League Baseball stadiums. So like if you're like upset about 10,000 views, like you sold out a third of a fucking arena.
Haven't hit 10K yet, that I can't lie. Only 7K.
There's one at 8. Yeah, you
8K,
got one.
8K.
It's gonna crank. Yeah, I'll just repost it and then we'll see what happens.
Let's go.
Yeah, get all the my followers from India to hop in there from the
my ICP. Perfect.
Yeah, it is like it's so funny because it's just like 50-50. It's like I get 50% like people who follow Arlen, and then I get 50% like how did they even see my post? So I turn it on and off. But anyway, I am kind of curious, like heading into 2026, and I'd say we probably got about 10, 15 minutes here.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, what are you changing this year based on your experience last year? Anything that stands out to you that you'd say you're doing differently?
I think that, like, I set myself some goals at the beginning of this year. I think that my why has changed a lot. So before I met my girlfriend, it was really kind of centered around, you know, making money or like being able to work remotely from anywhere. But it's changed a lot to like taking care of the people around me. That is my like primary reason why I think I want to become successful. And the second reason is, I think that our purpose in life should be, or at least mine is, just to reach my full potential. I actually saw in a video the other day a fantastic quote. The guy basically said, like, life is too short to have potential, so just go out and do it. And the irony is that I had been told my entire life growing up, like some people, you know, they get told, oh, like, you're not going to be shit. You know, you're not going to be anything. I always got told, oh, you're going to be really successful. Like, you're going to really make it. You know, like, you are so good at this stuff. And it kind of like had a reverse effect. Like, it just made me lazy. I was like, oh, eventually it'll come, you know, all these like these beliefs and stuff. And it hindered me like massively. And so I kind of woke up one day. I was like, yo, fuck this, man. Like, I don't want to be, it's very cliche, but I don't want to be 50, 60, 70 years old and be regretting that I didn't like push myself. You know what I mean? Nothing changes. Yeah.
And I think that's like, do you remember who said that? That's a really good one.
I don't remember who
said
that.
Yeah, I'm glad it's okay. It's better than butchering.
Oh, the quote that I said?
Yeah.
I don't know off the top of my head, but we can drop his Instagram in the description if I find it.
Yeah, we'll find it.
New creator.
Yeah, that's a really good one. Because it really is like, we were talking about this on the way up, funny enough, where you just have the people who say they're going to do it. Yeah. And then you have the people who are actually asking themselves the tough questions every day and realizing like, yo, whatever I've done for the last week, the last year, the last 6 months, I can't keep doing that. Yeah. And like change is very uncomfortable. And I would try to, like, when I would think about like my last year, I was like, what was I really uncomfortable with, let's say 2 years ago, I'm not, like, I'm totally fine with now. Yeah. And it was like, I'm very adaptive to change now. Like, it's not as scary as it used to be. And I think it's just in the sense of like, we're older now, we see more. And I agree with you on the why changing, because it was back then it was just like, oh, prove my parents I know what I'm talking about. Like, that was what I was like going off of. Yeah. But then I was like, no, it's like actually so I can buy my parents' house and not let it leave the family. Yeah. Now it is just so much more like, oh, that would be cool. Like, I never have to like, my kids can see my hometown. It won't be like, they don't have to stay there, but there's a cool element that they'll always have. Like, and then like we were talking about the business, like, would I ever sell it? Like, no, like I'd literally leave that name up there until it retired everybody. Like, until it was just like, you know, I said the 100 million plus, and the idea being it wouldn't sell, you know, and that is what I'm like focused on now. So it's very much just day by day, but also the big picture in mind. That's good. I like the changing of the why. Anything would you say from a business, like anything you liked that you did last year that you think is going to help you, like that you're going to continue to do in this year? Like that you like would say you gained last year and now it's like, I'm not probably moving on, whether it's business or life. I'd say either.
Yeah, I think the main thing that I gained last year was like I became comfortable putting myself in like uncomfortable situations.
Wow.
And I also actually kind of like in the last 3 months came to this realization, like I now have internal confidence. So I had always been labeled my whole life as like someone who was confident. Like I was like outspoken, like
That's
all these things.
Yeah.
And I didn't know this until like 3 months ago, but I was always outwardly projecting confidence, but that was not the case internally. Like I was so much self-doubt, so much fear of judgment, so much fear of, I don't know, you fucking name it. And I now actually have this internal confidence. Like I have a self-belief that I don't think I've ever had. And, you know, everybody who's anything says like you need to be not delusional to be successful, but you need to like have unwavering self-belief. Yeah. I never had that. And now I have it more than I think most people. And
that's awesome. And it's if people just looked at the like, we talk about the energy of it all the time.
Yeah.
But we were talking about this at dinner too. It was just like, hey, in the past, I had to think, how often did I say I believed in myself, but I didn't actually wake up and do the redundant, like actually speaking to myself in meditation thing. Yeah. Because there's so few people who actually do that. It's very easy if somebody were to ask them, oh, do you have self-confidence? Yeah, of course.
They don't.
Are you going to sleep saying like you're a very self-confident mother? Like,
yeah.
Because
it's all about your subconscious.
It is so funny because then it just plays out. Then I wake up in the morning and I sit back and I watch it. Yeah. Like there are days now where I will just watch it. Yeah. Because I know I'm in tune and I'm not like, I know I'm listening to the right stuff and I know I'm telling myself like I actually believe in what we're doing and I'm already 5 years ahead of where I'm at right now. Yeah. Like leading with that. And I know people can feel it. So you'll get universal feedback. Like it's not a coincidence. We're in the same room right now feeling the same thing, right? 100%. Like unwavering self-confidence, 25, 26 years old. Yeah. Like this is where it's come to. We're basing it off our previous kind of experiences, knowing we're not going to make the same mistakes, you know, necessarily moving forward. Pattern recognition is like really big here.
Yeah, I think if you're somebody who is like, if you're watching and you're someone who kind of like had it like me, who like you project outwardly, you seem like a confident individual, and you think that you're confident. Like you actually think it, like actually look in the mirror and kind of see like what doubts you have. Because it all comes down to like an identity thing if you don't have the things that you want, right? I've even been thinking about it like in recently, like, okay, I maybe am not where I want to be yet, right? That's obviously like always relative. But I think the primary reason for that, why you wouldn't be where you want to be in life at a certain moment is your external reality can only match up with your internal beliefs. So if I don't believe that I'm the kind of person who makes, you know, I don't know, $1.5 million a year or whatever, and I don't actually have that internal dialogue and that internal self-belief, then the external reality cannot exist. It's impossible.
Wouldn't even come up. Yeah. Now, kind of for let's see if I can come up with like a final five here, and we can kind of spitball and maybe go back and.
I have one quote I got lined up for all the viewers at home.
I'll say it at the ready to rip on. Okay, so that's gonna be the last one. Okay, we'll save that. I'll find a way to frame it. I would say I asked you the dinner question last time, or somebody asked you the dinner question. Yeah. I'm curious if you could. What's one question you'd ask yourself, you'd want to ask your 30-year-old self? That's like 5 years from now.
One question I would want to ask my 30-year-old self, like if I could go and ask him like right now.
Yeah.
I think I would just ask him like, do you honestly think that do you honestly think that you're doing everything that you can to achieve the things that you're capable of?
I love that.
And if he said no, I would be like, what the fuck?
Or even better, like, have you, based on where you're at now, like, have you done what you're capable of? Like, have we done this at 30? Like, are you the most optimized version of yourself? Because you've taken it so seriously. Yeah. Not the most that you could be, but definitely just within that time frame. Okay.
Yeah. I wouldn't even say like asking him like, have we achieved the things? Yeah. Because I'm a firm believer that like if you like the law of conservation of energy, I have a video on my YouTube channel, I have a video on my Instagram about it. Like I'm a firm believer that if you put energy into the right system, the outcome that you desire when that happens is not up to you.
Yeah.
It happening is a guarantee because
like
energy cannot like be
Yeah.
negated or created. It's only transformed.
Yeah.
So as a result, like I will achieve the things I want,
Yeah.
but I cannot be the master of that timing,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I like that. And I think that's something even personally I like tend to struggle with from time to time. So that's really good insight. Now, I am kind of curious in terms of heading into, I would say, like if we're having this conversation a year from now, like have you laid out goals for this year? I always like to ask people this. Always. Okay, yeah. What is your goal like setting process, and what would you say you use as like your benchmarks like with that?
I really refined it this year, so I'm glad you asked the question.
Oh, hell yeah. Awesome. Yeah. I think this is super helpful for anybody listening. Like find out people who actually do this kind of thing and copy them until you find your own style, please. Yeah.
So the first thing I would do, like in terms of goal setting, it's, if you haven't already done it, then it is what it is. But you need to journal. Like I'm a firm believer that you should be journaling your thoughts, not necessarily to look back on them. I do personally because I think it's really funny to look back on like the 6 month ago version of yourself, the 2 year ago version of yourself. It's different human beings because it's basically taking a picture in time and allowing yourself to like view that picture. But basically, if you don't already journal, I would just take almost like a full day, maybe like a half day, and just like empty your mind. My girlfriend told me yesterday that to go to sleep to empty your mind, she says empty, 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 empty. So do that.
I've heard that. And I've heard of the nothing trick. I say nothing. That's so funny. Right
now. And think about the most notable things that happened to you in the last year in different facets of life. So if it's fitness, if it's relationships, if it's business, if it's beliefs, doesn't matter what it is, like break it down into like 5 or so categories. For me, that's kind of like the top 5. And then also personal development. And then kind of jot down, okay, this is what happened to me. This is what I learned from it. And this is how I'm going to be like, this is how it changed my perspective on things. Or this is how I use it like in my day-to-day life.
Documenting your own involvement. I like that.
Exactly. And then for your goal setting, you basically look back at that reflection document. And then you look back at that reflection document and then you use that and be like, okay, this is the kind of person I want to be in the next year. And these are the things that I want to achieve as a result of being that person.
All right. I love that. That's awesome. Yeah, I really like the breaking down and like actually solving the problem, because then why not? If you achieved what you were weak on the year before, like this is a win. Yeah. Kind of into our final 2 here. So I'll give you one question to ask me and then I'll flip it back and we'll get your words of wisdom here. I'm curious.
I think the last time we had an episode, I asked you, how do you define integrity? But now I want to ask you, how do you define like personal growth? What does that mean for you?
Yeah, I like that. I would say, can you, much like we just did, are you legitimately good at recognizing patterns? Because I have just learned, like, the better I got at pattern recognition of, 100%. Hey, the X plus Y caused freaking Z, dude. Yeah. And we got to stop doing that. Always. Like, we got to, we know how this works. I'm all for throwing yourself in the fire and figuring it out. But once you do that and you know the fire's fucking hot, then as you get older, there's certain fires you need to stop fucking trying to touch. Yeah. So, like, personal growth is, have you gotten really good at pattern recognition? Are you still repeating the mistakes you made years prior? Yeah. And I think that's better than just a broad statement of like, did you evolve from last year? Yeah. No, you evolved from last year, much like you just said, because you learned and you recognized problems and you solved them. Yeah. And then now just kind of curious, like any final thoughts, final words that can impact this audience before we head off?
110%. I think something that's a friend of mine told me, it was actually in a totally different context about 3 months ago, but it relates beautifully to like personal growth. Is if you're trying to do this goal setting or you want to be in a certain place, but that result feels like extremely, extremely distant, and you're kind of having a hard time coming to terms with like, how am I going to get there? Just remember that essentially there are sometimes decades where nothing happens in your life, and then there will be weeks where decades happen. So as long as you can kind of live in those weeks and really, make that decade of progress happen in that short amount of time, You will do it without even realizing it, but kind of coming to grips and allowing those to come to you and just kind of accepting that as a fact will seriously kind of help your success horizon expand.
I love that. Decades into weeks, weeks into decades. I like that. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
All right, Tristan, thank you so much.